Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will present humor studies and humor translation. Next, and this is our member in this group. There's Chani, Karina, Mikianu, Iksan, Nadja, and Rahajan. Okay, so humor is an integral part of daily life across all social media groups and cultures. Yet, it, yet defining it in general terms has been a challenging task for scholars due to its multi-phase, relative, and idiosyncratic nature, which varies by culture, historical context. Researchers Research has therefore focused on understanding humor essence, mechanism, and societal effects through this diverse approach and perspective. Consequently, humor studies has emerged as an interdisciplinary field encompassing anthropological, psychological, philosophical, and linguistic research. This, in this chapter, provides an overview of the humor theories, focusing on Ruskin's semantic script theory of humor and the general theory of verbal humor. Next. Okay. Definition of humor. Humor is a universal complex phenomenon that varies widely across cultures and contexts. Scholars from multiple disciplines have attempted to define humor, recognizing it as a partly natural and partly awkward mode of communication. Key theories such as Ruskin's semantic script theory of humor and the general theory of verbal humor offer insight into how humor operates and its effects on society. And the marker of humor. Humor expressed through language often includes linguistic, paraverbal, nonverbal markers, and common markers include prosodic features like voice pitch and pauses. And second one is nonverbal cues such as facial expression, mimicry, smiling, and gazes. The next one is irony marker, elements that can be removed without losing the irony. And the last one is essential factor, the elements crucial to signaling the ironic intent. The role of laughter. Laughter is a debate marker of humor, often linked to but not synonymous with humor. Many research highlight that research relationship with humor. While humor can cause laughter has multiple triggers and can serve various purposes beyond humor. As a social function, laughter helps establish rapport and can signal humor comprehension. It may also reflect social norms and personal response to humor. And for distinction from humor, laughter can indicate amusement, but it, but is not an inherent measure of humor, intensity, or presence. And many professionals state that one of them is through Coin and Fong 2017. It includes other cases as such as fake laughter, as in the case of music and opera, laughter as relaxation exercise in yoga groups, as and as a pantology, versus sardonitis. And the other professional, Chovanec 2019, has studied laughter in non-humorous contexts and found it can also be a reaction to experience such as failure, success, disbelief, and disgust. However, using laughter in scripted text may be a conscious decision on the part of the production team which used it to make interaction look more spontaneous and enjoyable than it than in usual church context by Bit 175.
Okay, next is the theories of humor. Theories of humor depends on the book. It said theories. There's three theories of humor. The first one is superiority theory. Just like the title, this theory suggests that humor comes from the feeling of superior to others. The second theory is reality theory. It says that the humor provides a release from attention. The third theory is incongruity theory. It says that humor arises from unexpected or illogical comparison. And the last is Benich violation theory. This theory says that humor arises from violations of social norms as long as the violation is minor and does not threaten the audience very much. Next.
Next is script-based theories. Script-based theory has four sections. First is general theory of verbal humor, known as GTPH. Second is script-based semantic theory of humor, known as SSTH. Understanding script, applications, and criticism. Next. First, script-based semantic theory of humor. Victor Raskin developed the script-based semantic theory of humor in 1985. This theory primarily focuses on the linguistic analysis of jokes and aims to understand how humor is created through language. According to Raskin, a joke is considered humorous to specific conditions, compatible with different scripts. Only the script be in opposition to each other. This opposition between scripts creates the element of surprise or incongruity that is essential for humor. Next. Second is understanding script. In the context of SSTH, Raskin defines a script as a substantial chunk of semantic information related to a word or evoked by it. Attardo in 1994 further elaborates on this by describing a script as a cognitive structure internalized by a speaker. Information on how things are done and organized. Essentially, scripts are similar to the concept of frames and schemas in linguistics and cognitive linguistics. They encompass both lexical and non-lexical information and are connected through semantic links such as synonymy, hyponymy, and antonymy. When elements in a sentence or text evoke and combine scripts, they create a semantic network. Humor arises when these scripts overlap and are in opposition, leading to a humorous interpretation. Next. Third is general theory of verbal humor. Developed by Attardo and Raskin in 1991, the general theory of verbal humor was developed by Attardo and Raskin in 1991 as a revision and expansion of SSTH. The GTPH aims to provide a comprehensive framework for analyzing humor in longer text and non-verbal instances. It introduces 5 key parameters in addition to the script opposition concept from SSTH. Script opposition. The conflict script is in the humorous text, logical mechanism. The method used to connect or switch between script situations. The specific scenario or context in which the humor occurs. Target, the entity or group that the joke is directed against. Narrative strategy, the narrative genre of the text, language, the and fourth and last is application and criticism. Some of the noteworthy applications are Ricky in 2000 combined GPPX with research in computational humor. Artis and Sakona in 2005 and 2012 explored humor and identity. Antonopoulou and Sivanu 2003, and Sakona in 2007 examined the distinction and function of jab and punchline in text. Criticism, Ruth and others question the position of the logical mechanism within the GPPH. Muller in 2007 pointed out the difficulty in identifying jablines within.
Okay, the next one is conversational humor. Humor in conversation can be categorized into canned jokes and conversational or situational jokes. The first one is canned jokes. Canned jokes is jokes that have already been used by other speakers in several situations and are available, for instance, in books or collections of jokes. Second one is conversational jokes. Conversational jokes uh, are jokes that occur spontaneously in conversation and may be triggered by a given situation. Next. And the next one is functions of humor in conversation. Humor in conversation serves several purposes. It allows us to present ourselves in a certain way, gather information about the attitudes and affiliations of others, and adjust our stance in relation to them. It also helps reduce tension and encourage friendly interaction.
The next one is humor in comedy. There are 5 types of text according to Attardo. Text without humor, text with jokes or punchlines, text with episodic humor, text with one joke, and text with a series of humor and jokes for a sitcom. Next. Ralph Sakana, 2017, proposes a typology which is then divided into 4 types of humor genres, namely humor as a mandatory feature, mainly for audience entertaining shows like comedies and cartoons. Humor as an optional feature most likely appear to create a humorous effect, narratives, conversations, and advertisements. Humor as an unexpected feature. Humor may appear but is not expected or expected in news reports, business, or negotiations. Humor as an uncommon feature. Humor almost never appears usually in religious texts and court decisions. But Sakana points out that these 4 genres are not definitive because some texts, such as business texts or court decisions, may contain humor in unexpected circumstances. Next. In describing sitcoms, Palmer, 1994, states that sitcoms rely on a balance between the storyline and the theme of the joke, although the emphasis is very much on the plot of the joke. In discussing audiovisual works, Tagliamont and Roberts, 2005, state that TV comedy can be seen as a diversion from the real world, as it attempts to replicate everyday language. That said, real and comedy conversations differ in many ways, which are not included here for a lack of space. What is more important to observe is that conversational exchanges among the characters in comedy are often exaggerated for humorous purposes. However, in comedy, particular characteristics may be taken to extremes, resulting in prototypical distortions, so that characters may be described as exaggerated prototypes. Comedy involves a character-to-character level of communication as well as a scriptwriter audience level, whereas naturally occurring humor in conversation involves only at the level of 36 theories communication between 2 or more interlocutors. Hence, it is important to understand how humor is conveyed at both these levels. For bubble and space, the producers, scriptwriters, directors, camera staff, and cutters on the editing team of a TV program are all involved in the construction of meaning with a specific audience in mind.
Next is the difficulty of translating humor. Translating humor is a challenging task because humor often relies on specific language and cultural contexts. Chiara and Heike point out that literal translation often fail because they don't account for cultural references and the subtitles of the original language. Delebes Tita counters the theoretical debate by emphasizing that humor is translated every day, proving its feasibility. He suggests a pragmatic approach to humor translation, focusing on identifying and preserving the humorous elements of the original text. This involves understanding the mechanism that creates humor, such as wordplay or cultural references, and adapting them to fit the target language and culture. Various strategies can be employed, such as replacing the original humor with something that works in the target language, or sometimes omitting it altogether if necessary. Conclusion, translating humor is tough because it's closely tied to specific language and cultures. Some experts think it's impossible, while others believe it can be done well, or even better than the original. There are different strategies like changing or moving jokes. Even though there can be issues like style changes, the goal is to make sure the translation is still funny for the new audience. I think that's all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.